How's it going, everybody? It's your boy, the Elden Beast here. So today, I have a bit of an update to the Lily Orchard situation. After all, it's been almost a week, and, well, a few new developments have kind of happened. And thankfully, a good bit of it is at least some good news. But of course, since Lily Orchard can't seem to keep her mouth shut for more than 5 seconds, of course there's a few interesting little tidbits here that, well, have been discovered by the main affected individuals here that shine further light on just how malicious of an individual Lily Orchard actually is. And I might as well go over those first before I get into some of the actual good news because, well, it just makes the most sense. So without any further ado, let's just get started here. So of course, there's this one particular Tumblr post that's been posted by Lily Orchard right here. I'll probably have it on the screen so that way you guys can actually read it. And of course, it is Lily Orchard once again answering the question that she likely sent herself, mainly because of, well, the last line here that literally states that I love your channel, which I genuinely find to be not very believable, but whatever, I guess. Lily Orchard decides to respond by stating, YouTube takes you down for fraudulent copyright claims. You know exactly what you've been doing. Meaning claims about material that doesn't actually belong to you. It's easy to confuse the two since bad actors think all copyright claims are fraudulent. Given their disputes about fair use, they're conceding the material does belong to me. If a copyright strike expires on its own, YouTube doesn't actually do anything about it. So I've been striking stolen content for years. So there's quite a few things to unpack here. First things first, bad actors think all copyright claims are fraudulent. I hate to break it to you, but in this case, they actually are fraudulent. After all, you quite literally bring up the fact that they mention fair use, which is quite literally a fucking law, meaning that if it's transformative enough, if it actually provides critique and commentary, something that, well, quite literally within the videos that you decide to strike down, Lily, they did in fact provide, and they were transformative in nature, that basically means that what you did flies right in the face of fair use. And I'll touch more upon that within the good news segment, because, you know, that's where a good majority of the meat of this video is likely going to be. And of course, this little bit here where she states, I've been striking stolen content for years, just take a look back at the previous video and you'll notice similar phrasing whenever it comes to her referring to the content that she struck down recently being, quote, stolen content. Meaning that she's been abusing the copyright system for God knows how long, and it's only been now that people are actually beginning to take notice of it. Probably because the channels that she struck down were probably smaller channels that didn't have nearly as much of a voice, and probably back then YouTube posts didn't actually exist to actually update people in terms of this kind of garbage even happening. So here she is, quite literally admitting that yes, I am in fact someone who is petty enough to abuse the copyright system as I've done it in the past, which I think is probably one of the most disgusting things that I've actually seen so far. Well, other than some of the obvious, but, well, that's not the video for that. But of course, here we have yet another post right here from Lily Orchard where she answers a question about yet another individual that's now been brought up into the conversation, which is a content creator that goes by the name of Crimson Ender. Her response is just flat out incorrect, and I'll explain why. In fact, it's quite literally explained within, Anthony's own post about it, which I decided to kind of look into, and, well, everything checks out. So, obviously, the answer that Lily Orchard decides to give to this question is some alt-right channel that loves screaming the T-slur and calling people it doesn't like fat. I feel like that there's already tons to unpack here, and I might as well just unpack them all right now. First of all, he isn't an alt-right channel. Second of all, it's a trans guy. I highly doubt that they're screaming the T-slur, or even screaming at all from what I've seen. And on top of that too, using the referral of it, nice job dehumanizing a fellow trans person right there just because they're a critic of yours, Lily Orchard. It's not like, you know, you're engaging in the exact same garbage that you like to criticize fucking Steven Universe of supposedly doing. Jesus fucking Christ. But of course we do in fact have a few bits of good news here. And of course that comes in the form of Anthony's own comment that he left on my Lily Orchard video as of 2 days ago, in which he does in fact clarify that, well, strikes do only last for about like 3 months, but the removed videos do in fact stay removed permanently unless YouTube decides to reinstate them, or I'm assuming unless they're like re-uploaded or whatever the hell. But of course I'm assuming if they're re-uploaded by the channel that they were struck down from, I'm assuming that YouTube will probably not really like that. And of course the offer of $700 was for Lily Orchard to actually review Neon Genesis Evangelion, which was more or less of a sponsorship rather than like, you know, collaboration or anything along those lines, which of course Lily Orchard did not take very kindly to, considering that Anthony is a critic of hers and she hates her critics, despite the fact that she is, well, a critique channel. hence why I titled the previous video as I did. But of course, the good news is that, well, the videos that Lily Orchard had struck down from both Saya and Anthony here are likely going to be up by some point within, like, the next week. Within his comment, he states that, well, it was going to be back up in about, like, 2 or so days, but as he later clarified in a community post, apparently they weren't going to be up in only a couple days because he mistook the, 10 or so days as 10 or so business days, so, he probably thought that it was going to be a lot shorter than it genuinely was, so. And of course, it did in fact have a little bit of a back and forth, but to kind of summarize it, he basically, states that it would suck that, if Lily Orchard were to actually lose probably her only source of actual income, let's just be honest here, and while I do in fact agree to an extent, it would genuinely suck to see her lose, like, her only source of actual, proper income. It's unfortunately one of those cases where, especially with the platform that she currently has, it's definitely more of a privilege that, as of right now, she has just sorely abused to the highest possible degree. And on top of that, too, if you're going to abuse the broken-ass copyright system on YouTube, you automatically lose, like, a good, 90% of any sympathy it could have fucking had for you if anything were to actually happen to your channel. Because, once again, if you're abusing it and you know that it's broken, then congratulations, you suck as a human being. And of course, in my personal opinion, I genuinely think that Lily Orchard has probably backed herself into a fucking corner by doing this kind of garbage, because while she's struck down these videos and these channels haven't been removed by her fraudulent strikes, very likely these videos are going to go back up, unless for some reason Lily Orchard is actually dumb enough to counter the counterclaims that have been filed against her fraudulent copyright strikes. So of course, unless she's dumb enough to actually try and face international copyright law, and actually probably sorely lose because, well, wouldn't you believe it, fair use kind of exists within all the countries involved here, Lily Orchard would definitely lose if she were to try and take this shit to court, if she were to file some sort of counter to the counter notifications. And of course, since she doesn't exactly like admitting when she's wrong, she will definitely not like what the courts have to say about her actions, and I can guarantee it would probably reach the ears of YouTube and her channel would get knocked down out of fucking orbit. But of course, if she doesn't bother to do anything, then the videos likely go up, there's probably going to be a lot of reports to her channel for abusing the copyright system, and on top of that too, in the best case scenario for at least Anthony and Sai, the Streisand effect will take full swing, and people will flock over to the videos that were wrongfully struck down to see what in the hell it was that Lily Orchard was trying to hide. And I can guarantee you, she is not going to like what people will have to say about it. But of course, that pretty much rounds off today's video. To kind of give somewhat of a moral to this godforsaken story, don't be like Lily Orchard, okay? Don't be someone that abuses a copyright system. Don't be a fragile little numbskull that likes to cry whenever they receive criticism. Just take criticism in stride, especially if you're a fucking critique channel, like, god damn. But anyways, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like, that's very well appreciated. Leave a comment down below on what you thought about the video, what you want me to talk about next, and also subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want to see more content such as this. Also go ahead and follow me on Twitter and join the Discord server down below if you feel like doing so. And yeah, anyways guys, this has been Sadie, and have yourselves a nice day.